3, 2, 1.
And welcome everyone to this South Huron Council meeting, December 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. We welcome the members of the public who are joined this evening. It's a full gallery. It appears tonight. We welcome our staff members that are here to give us expert advice to help us make the best decisions for the residents of South Huron. And we welcome members of council this evening as well. We'll ask everyone to please rise for Roll Canada. Seated. Again, welcome to everyone that's here this evening, and we also welcome those that are participating by Zoom in the comfort of their own home. And we ask everyone please ensure that your cell phones are off, with the exception of any volunteer firefighter that's here this evening. Please leave your phone on. Ms. McSweel-Carlson, item number 2, please. Oh, sorry, I have to go to the record. Sorry, our land acknowledgement. My apologies. So we'll begin our meeting with our land acknowledgement. As we gather, we are reminded that the municipality of South Huron is situated on Treaty 29 land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people today. And as a community, we have a responsibility to honor and respect this territory's significance for the Indigenous peoples who lived and continue to live upon it, and whose practices and spiritualities were tied to the land and continue to develop in relationship to the territory and its other inhabitants today. In the spirit of reconciliation and truth, we acknowledge the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples on whose traditional territory we are meeting. Ms. McSweel-Carlson, item number 2, please.
The South Huron Council approves the agenda as presented.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, second by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Are there any disclosures at this time? And not seeing any, I'll move on to 4.1, and we welcome our good friend Bonnie Sitter to come on down, and she can talk a bit about what we've all heard about in the news. And we want to thank you, Bonnie, for taking the time. I know you had a presentation done up for our video, and you've been a very busy lady for the last few days. So I think if you could just talk about this important book and all the things you've done. You got about 10 minutes, and I'm sure everybody here would love to hear it.
Okay, will you get the hook ready, George?
Okay, it's ready.
Okay. So my journey in researching the Farmerettes started with a tiny picture. This is an enlargement of the picture. The picture I found was 2 inches by 2.5 inches, and that was in January of 2018. There was no names of the girls on the back, but there was a clue, and it said Farmerettes about 1946. The picture would have come from my husband's family farm. They did hire Farmerettes, and when the house was cleaned out, my sister-in-law would have said to my husband, here's some pictures for you. He put them in his photo album, but just loosely. In 1946, he was 4 years old. He didn't know who the people were, but he didn't throw them out. So I found the picture and decided, since I hadn't been taught about Farmerettes in school, that I would start doing research. The more research I did, the more I thought other people would enjoy this information. So I wrote an article for the Rural Voice, published at a Blythe, and the editor admitted to me months later that she sat on it, not sure that anybody was interested. But when she needed to fill up a magazine, she put it in. A lady in London had a subscription. She read the article, passed it to a friend who read the article, and that friend said, I think my friend, Shirley Ann English, was a farmerette. I'm going to share it with her. So Shirley Ann read it and was brought to tears because it all brought back memories from 1952 when she had worked on the Sitter farm outside of Thedford. And to her dying day, she would still tell you that was the best summer of her life. So from the magazine article, I got to connect with Shirley Ann and found out that in 1995, she had decided, as she retired from the London Free Press, that she would like to write an article, perhaps for Chatelaine or a women's magazine. So she put an ad in papers all over Ontario saying, if you were a farmerette, get in touch. She got nearly 300 letters. Most of them said, what do you want to know? Send me the questionnaire, call me, I'd like to help. And then she got all these letters and did nothing with them. So when I found her and found out that she had done this, I said, do you still have the letters? And she said, I think so. And I said, well, dig them out because we're going to write a book and we're going to do it in a year. The women had been waiting since 1995 to see their stories and memories in a book. So did accomplish that. The book came out a year later, as promised, the women. And from there, it was developed into a play. In 2024, it was shown on the stage at Fourth Line Theatre at Millbrook near Peterborough and at the Blythe Festival Theatre. 35 stagings, I saw them all, and it was 93% sold out, so it was a hit. From there, meanwhile, I had met Colin Field from London, who was a new filmmaker. And I said, you know, it's more than a story, it's a documentary. And he said, well, I just took the course at Fanshawe. Maybe I could do it. So he came to my place and we talked about it. And out of my mouth came the words, well, if you're going to do it, I'll help you raise the money. So there was my next challenge. Anyway, it's a $200,000 documentary that has won at least, I think it's 7 awards, been accepted into 21 film festivals. And we've been invited to Juno Beach Center in France. We're spending $10,000 to get the French subtitles for it. We're going to go over. They have farmerette items that will be in the exhibit that goes up in March and stays up until December of 29. They're enlarging the stamp. And that took 4 years. I knew it was a 2-year project to begin with. And I was turned down the first time, so I went back with more ammunition and caught the attention of Senator Robert Black, which I hope if you don't know him, you'll look him up because he's an amazing man. And he helped me push it over the finish line. I'm quite confident of that. And when it came out October 28th, 2024, he announced it and addressed the Senate a few days later, and you can hear his speech about the importance of the farmerettes. If you go to YouTube and Google Senator Black farmerette stamp, you can hear the message. So lots of people are enjoying it. We've screened it over 70 times, mostly in Ontario, but it has been screened in Alberta, in Red Deer, Hinton, and Brooks. And we hope to have it go across Canada. People are saying it needs to be in schools. It fits perfectly with the grade 10 curriculum. And I think it's a TV series and a musical yet. So I don't know, am I run out of time or how are we doing?
We have all the time in the world for you, Bonnie.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, who doesn't listen to Bonnie? Have you got anything further?
Well, no, I mean, if you're interested, I mean, there were 7 brigades, and besides the farmerette brigade, there was a boys brigade. Sometimes people say, well, what were the boys doing besides running down the road to visit the farmerettes? They had camps as well, but not to the extent the farmerettes did. So boys 14, 15, 16, and 17 would be in boys brigade camps, and there was one at the Holland Marsh, there was Burlington, there was Harrow, there was Leamington. But the farmerette camps, there was nearly 60 of them, and some years there would be as many as 100 girls at Thedford. So quite a program that was designed by the Department of Agriculture, Department of Labor, Department of Education, and the YWCA all worked together to devise the program. And there was a labor secretary that worked with the farmers that would say, the farmers would say, I need 5 girls for 3 days or 10 girls for 5 weeks. And she would do the juggling to figure out who was going to what farm. She would post it, and it was the girl's responsibility to look at that list and see what time the farmer was picking her up and who she was working for. And somebody, of course, had to feed these girls. So they handed in their ration coupons when rationing was in effect. And the cook would have been chosen by the YWCA and the labor secretary. Those jobs were paid by the government, but the farmers paid their wages. They were 25 cents an hour. And that was the going rate for male labor on the farm at that time. And the girls paid $4.50 a week for room and board. They were fed 7 days a week, 3 times a day. So that, that wasn't an unreal amount to ask for. Their bed sheets and pillowcases were washed for them, but they did their own personal laundry. I think I've covered a lot, so.
And just to clarify, these
Yeah.
girls are working to help with the war effort by producing the food, gathering the food to ship it overseas on the merchant ships, or some were bombed before we even got to England.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, so they were supposed to be 16, 17, or 18. There were girls that got in at 15 and probably some at 14. One girl said her mother changed her birth date from 1931 to 1930 with just a stroke of a pen. A lot easier in those days to become older or younger, I guess. But it was an estimated 40,000 girls did service through the Ontario Farm Service Force during the seasons 1941 to 52. So even after the war, they were still helping.
That's great. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation, Bonnie. Had it not been for you, this chapter of Canadian history would have been lost forever. And the stories of these incredible young Canadian women lost to history. So with November 11th still fresh in our minds, we must never forget the sacrifices that were made overseas and how everyone of all abilities poured their hearts and souls under such dire circumstances to make Canada what it is today. But I'll just turn to council. Any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Need, go ahead, please.
Just more of a comment. I had the chance to show We Lend a Hand, which is the documentary that Bonnie helped create, to my grade 10 history class a few weeks ago. And if you get a chance to see a screening, it's very impactful. And generally, when we talk about the First World War, the Second World War, we're really focused on battles and not so much on the effect that the war had on the home front and the effect that it had on children and teenagers, and as well as everyone else left in southwestern Ontario. And so it's really interesting because you go around and there's a lot of different women from across southwestern Ontario that, Thetford or Leamington went to different areas of the province to do all this work. And I think for us, the one thing to keep in mind is all of the sacrifices that were made by everyone during the specifically the Second World War. And it was impactful for those kids to see them talk, these women talk about, well, when I was 15 or 16, I got out of my calculus exam so that I could be a farmerette, and how proud they were of their contribution to the war effort. So I think it's important that story was told. So thank you for your efforts to do that, and all the time and money invested into making this happen, because it has had an impact, at least on my students, and how they look at the war effort. So thank you.
Don't go anywhere yet, Bonnie. Any other questions, comments for Bonnie? Okay. Before you go, staff and I have been working on something behind the scenes. Council doesn't know about this, and we kept it very secretive because we didn't want to get it out. But on behalf of the municipality of South Huron, excuse me, I extend my warmest congratulations to you on the remarkable achievement of bringing the story of the farmerettes to life through your research, writing, and the inspiring documentary, We Lend a Hand. Your dedication to uncovering and preserving this important chapter of Canadian history has ensured that the contributions of these courageous young women will never be forgotten. Excuse me. You have reminded all of us of the strength, resilience, and determination that define our rural communities. You have given voice to those whose efforts helped sustain Canada during a time of great need and inspired pride across generations. Thank you for your vision, perseverance, and love of community. Your work stands as a lasting testament to the power of one person's dedication to make history live again, which is now commemorated, as you mentioned, in a Canada Post stamp. So your commitment to uncovering historical truth has made you a true South Huron hometown hero, and we got a little presentation for you. So if you could come up here, and members of council will come up and join us also. And we'd like to present this to you. These were made up a number of years ago. We've never actually rolled it out. How do you ignore one sheet? Few years, so we'd like to do that and also this, and of course the fishing there. Sneak milk in, but I do a day. Very nice. That's easy. All right. Yeah, absolutely. And I apologize to council for not disclosing that to you, but loose lips sink ships. And I didn't want anybody to know because Bonnie has her thumb on the pulse of the nation. So she'd hear something about it. So thanks staff for keeping it a secret and very deserving individual to bring it what it is from South Huron right to Parliament to get a stamp. And like, it's just amazing story all around. And the fact these young women did what they did to support the war effort. We have no idea what they went through. So the important thing is lest we forget. So thank you again, Bonnie, for all you did. Yep. So we need a recommendation to approve that.
That South Huron Council receives a presentation by Bonnie Siller regarding Ontario Farmerettes.
Moved by Councillor McLeod Haggett, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Thank you. And thank you again, Bonnie. Okay, delegations. We welcome our friends Leslie Eilers and Matt Lensink, I believe, is on Zoom tonight. Is that correct? Come on down, Matt. Leslie. Is Matt on Zoom there? Good. Okay. So I understand Matt's going to be doing the presentation. Is that correct, Leslie? Okay, great. Did we embarrass you, Bonnie? Did we embarrass you a bit? Yeah. Welcome, Matt. Whenever you're ready, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council, and that will be a tough act to follow. I'm pretty certain nobody will make a documentary about what we're going to talk about here. But thank you for your time. I'm here with my partner, Lass, and we are coming together to talk to you about a project on their farm at Goshen Line. And it's an opportunity to kind of extend and expand the existing biogas facility. And the request that we have is for council to provide a municipal support resolution in support of the IESO's LT2 request for proposal process, which is ongoing right now. So I have a couple slides, and then I think Lass will make a couple comments as well. And then we're certainly open for questions. So just very quickly about us, we're a Niagara-based engineering and project delivery company. We've been doing this for over 20 years, and we're providing kind of development services, development support to Lass and the team at the farm. We have successful projects in the first version of this RFP, and trying to do more successful projects as part of the LT2 program. Just some context with the IESO. I always say the IESO has two jobs. Their job is to keep the lights on today. They operate the grid in a real-time environment. And judging by the video there and you know what's going on here at my place, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping the lights on today. And they have the responsibility of keeping the lights on in the future. And so they're always managing that. You see that pie chart there that shows you how much of the energy comes from certain sources. They're thinking down the road, how do we make sure as the electrical load in the province grows, as other things change over time, other units, generating units come out of service, how do we have enough power? And so as they do that, they are always making sure that they have future contracts in place for future power at all times. And this is currently what they're looking at. They're looking out into the future from 2025 out to 2050. And they're seeing significant electrical load growth expected in the province, somewhere between 60 and 75%. They're currently updating this right now as we speak. But a significant load growth that's driven by electric vehicles, that's driven by electrification of heating, that's driven by data centers, of course, that's driven by population growth. So all of those things contribute to a significant load growth, and they have to meet that. They have to be able to provide energy and power to meet that. That's where this LT2 program comes in. It stands for Long-Term 2, very creative naming convention. And they're looking to buy two types of resources: energy resources, which is solar energy, wind energy, stuff that runs all the time. That's not what we're talking about here today. We are talking about, they're also trying to procure capacity. So this is energy, or this is power generation that will run only when they need it. So likely going to be on hot summer days or on very cold winter days when the electrical peak is at its highest. And so we are participating in the capacity procurement, and the bids are due. It's a competitive process. The bids are due on the 18th of December. So that's what we are pursuing. And a mandatory element of this procurement is what's called the Municipal Support Resolution, which does not preclude any planning or zoning or building permit requirements or any other environmental permitting or things of that nature. That will all come later. This is just an indication of support from the municipality that, hey, we know about the project and directionally we are supportive of it, subject to other permitting that would be required. So the project is the entity. So the kind of joint company we have is Blue Water Generation Incorporated. We're talking about the Goshen Line project. We are looking for a maximum capacity of 4 megawatts. A bit more detail on the project in subsequent slides. This is the area, and I have a visual, more of an aerial footage, but we're on Goshen Line here, on the adjacent to the existing property. I will maybe go there now, and I'll go backwards. So this is the existing livestock operation here, and here is the existing anaerobic digester, the round circle there. We would be right adjacent to it. And then on Goshen Line, we would connect to the electrical system. That's the red lines, and the natural gas system. That's the yellow lines. I mentioned natural gas, but this is really an expansion of the biogas facility. It is expected that this facility burns 50% biogas at a minimum and supplemented by natural gas. Supplemented because the capacity is there with Enbridge, and it makes for a more viable project if we have that fuel flexibility. So we have confirmed with Enbridge that the capacity exists. It will likely be up to 2 reciprocating engines. So think of large truck engines. They will be installed in containers like you see there. Those containers have significant noise mitigation technology built into them, because that's a very important part of the project. And again, these are expected to run about 500 to 1,000 hours a year. That's it, just in peak periods. And so that's what the project will look like. We're still figuring this out. We may kind of reduce the size a little bit based on a variety of factors, but at maximum it will be 4 megawatts. So I mentioned 500 to 1,000 hours a year. We will be operating based on when the grid needs the power. So when the IESO requires the power from us, then we will be operating. All emissions, both air and noise, will be controlled and regulated by the Ministry of Environment. So for the noise emissions, we will basically take a baseline of all the noise levels at the local receptors, and then we will design the plant, the treatment, the acoustic abatement, to make sure that we don't increase the noise levels at the receptors, to make sure that when it's operating, there won't be any incremental noise at the nearest receptors. So here at a high level is our schedule. We have registered this project as per the requirements. We do need to submit ahead of the 18th of December. We hope to be successful, of course, and if we are successful, we should find out in June, executing a contract in July of next year. We will line up our financing, and our goal is to be up and operational by the end of December of 2028. The program requires you to be up and running by May of 2030, but we are hoping to be ahead of that, which provides us some priority points and some benefits if we are able to be up early. Some benefits locally, these rural projects provide improved resiliency and reliability to the grid. So increasing the power quality locally because of the technology that we're looking at. This unit compared to other, gas turbine based projects, of which there are several being considered, this will have lower emissions on a unit basis because it's a high efficiency technology. And certainly during construction, but also likely during operation, an increase in jobs in the area as part of this project. During operation, it'll be service and maintenance and maybe some operations needed, not full time, but certainly more than what is there today. Just some contact information. This should be in everybody's package. There is a link to the IESO website on this same program. And that's the end. And just to reiterate, we are basically requesting from council, and we've sent through to staff the form that is required, but we're looking for a municipal support resolution as part of our bid submission to the IESO this December.
Great. Thanks for your presentation, Matt. Well done. Are there any questions from members of council at this time? Councillor Neeb, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It sounds really interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. In the presentation, you mentioned automatic fire detection. I was wondering, is there any automatic fire suppression that would be included with this too, considering we're in a rural area? And I'm just thinking what could happen potentially in July, and when we have, we've had fires in wheat fields before. So
yeah, so the detection, what the detection does is it will obviously detect a fire, and then it will shut off there's an automatic valve outside of the container that will then shut off fuel flowing to the engine. And so then that will contain and the whole container is multiple layers of steel construction. So that will contain the fire within the enclosure. And in my 15 years of doing these types of projects, I've seen that happen maybe once, very quickly with that shutoff valve. The fuel is shut off and the fire is extinguished if it happens in the first place.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Councillor Dietrich, go ahead.
Thanks to the mayor. You mentioned here in your presentation, Matt, that maximum of 4 kilowatts. Would that increase down the road, or how are you handling that?
Yeah, great question. So right now, yeah, we're looking at 4 megawatts. So we don't expect that to increase. That's really shaped because the philosophy here is how do we extend the life and the operation of the existing biogas facility. And so to go any bigger, we would be using a smaller portion of biogas and a larger portion of natural gas. And so the intent is to kind of keep it 50-50. And so that kind of is how we get to the 4 megawatt. We believe there's enough biogas to do 2 megawatts, and then the rest will be supplemented by natural gas. So that's kind of the size that's the size we're pursuing at this point, and we don't see it really expanding.
Councillor Oak.
Thank you, Mayor. The one question I have is, if something happens with the biodigester and not being able to produce enough gas for some reason, I assume because it's a 50-50, you can swing over to gas for a period of time until you can get things rolling again with the biodigester, because I know they're like a stomach. They have to be fed, and they, basically work, or sometimes you got to tweak them. So just wondering what your comments are on the 50/50. Is it always going to stay that way, or there's options to be able to use 100% natural gas if you had to for a period of time?
Yeah, it's as if you were reading off of our risk matrix for the project. Yeah, certainly the desire is to maximize the biogas and minimize the natural gas over the course of a year, to be as efficient as possible. But yeah, the design basis will allow for us to do 100% natural gas if we need to, in that event that the biogas isn't there. So there will be ability to swing back and forth technically, although the desire is to maximize the biogas use.
Thank you. And Matt, is this project working elsewhere in the province someplace?
Yeah, so generally speaking, I mean, even at the Eilers farm today, they are taking biogas and making electricity. And that's done, from biogas to electricity is done in 50 different farms across Ontario right now. Narrowing in more specifically for this type of LT1, LT2 project, that kind of program is still relatively new. We have 2 projects at 2 biogas facilities currently in construction. They will go into operation early next year. But the programs are all still relatively new for this type of energy. But again, the use of biogas for electricity, we've been doing that in Ontario now for close to 20 years and across 50 different sites. Very, very common.
Thank you. Any other questions at this time? Councillor Dietrich.
Thanks to the mayor. We have a few firemen here tonight in the gallery. Is there anything you can explain to them that they may have to be aware of down the road on this project?
We always, what I would say to that is we always want to engage, certainly in the design phase. So after we are successful, hopefully in June of next year, in that design phase, we do typically engage with, first response. We show them kind of the drawings and the layouts and show them what our plan is for access. And then, happy to host visits at that site or other sites. It is our desire to provide as much hands-on, whether that's on drawings, but preferably real-time in-person, education. But like I said, the fire detection and shutting off the fuel valve is, that'll be instant and that'll be proven as part of the commissioning. So beyond that, certainly education and involvement in design would be our key priority once we get to that phase.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions at this time? Deputy, go ahead, please.
Thank you. How is the new one any different than what's being operated there, other than it's bigger?
Yeah, so great question. So it is bigger. What's different is the existing one operates continuously at a lower output than this one. So it's smaller, but it operates, ideally 85, 86, 8,700 hours a year. And it's providing energy consistently to the province. This one will provide what we call capacity services, basically a response similar to a battery storage. So we will be competing against battery storage projects in this procurement. And basically, this system will just provide power when it's absolutely needed. So very high consumption hours, like when everybody gets home at 4 o'clock in the summer and turns on their air conditioning, that's when this will run. So the existing one runs 85, 8,600 hours a year. This one will run, by contrast, 500, maybe 1,000 hours a year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, not seeing any. Comments from staff at all? Comments from Mr. Eilers? Do you have anything at all?
Yeah, no, His Worship and councils, thanks for having us here. My name is Lasse. I'm the Eilers Farms rep here, boots on the ground. We had and wanted to partner with Matt from CEM because they were successful in LT1. We, as Eilers Farms, wouldn't be able to apply for such a project because we technically apply in a stream where large battery storage, several hundred megawatts, talks about 500 megawatt gas turbine projects down in Chatham, which take up 50 acres or whatever, but we're all going through the same process. That's why we're here tonight. So that's why we partner with Matt. That's in case someone wondered why Matt is here. And otherwise, if there are any questions, I think it was pretty clear for us. It's we have a 20-year contract under the under FIT contract, feed in tariff program right now for our existing digester and Goshen line. Someone has seen it out there. We are in year 10 right now. This is another 20-year contract, and with that, we'd be able to basically extend the lifetime of our for our farm operation, on-farm digester operation there by another 10 years. Plus, it also gives us a bit of a flexibility, second leg to stand on there at that facility. And that is the main reason, basically, why we're here.
Councillor Oak.
Thank you, and thank you for that explanation. I just noticed in the presentation that it's a December 18th submission deadline. Rebecca, just comments on next steps or?
Through the mayor, the resolution can be brought forward to the next council meeting as per regular process. That would be, and then council could deliberate at that point.
Thank you. Any other comments at this time? And just to be clear, the request you're asking for, Matt, can you just explain that in detail, exactly what you're looking for?
Yeah, so the IESO has a prescribed, what they call a prescribed form. They have many for the RFP. One of them is the municipal support resolution. If we were developing a project on Indigenous land, we would need, by contrast, an Indigenous support resolution. Basically, the municipal support resolution, I mean, staff, I think, has it and have read it. It essentially is providing support from the lower tier municipality, in this case, that they support the project. The background here is probably helpful. The background is that in prior energy procurements, particularly with the advent of the renewable energy approval, almost all of the involvement, stakeholdering, was taken away from the municipalities and put with the province. And so, this current approach to procurement is trying to kind of rebalance that and involve the municipalities more. And so the municipal support resolution is a key part of that. And it's basically, I think it says it right in there, it is not replacing, building permit, planning, things of that nature, other environmental approvals that are required. It's basically saying, hey, we are a municipality that's aware of this project, and we are, supportive of it as it has been presented to us. So we are, behind it to the extent that, other permitting will have to follow suit. That's basically what the resolution says.
And at this point, there's no cost to the municipality. Is that correct?
That's correct. There's no cost. Just, the resolution that council would pass tied to this form. That's right.
Okay, Deputy, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Just a question, like that timeline that Councillor Oak talked about is 3 days. If we wait till the next meeting, is it possible to do anything in between? And I don't want to put anybody on the spot here. Thank you.
You're talking procedural bylaw, suspension of the procedural bylaw. Madam Clerk, would you like to speak to that?
Through the chair, so council does have the ability through the procedural bylaw to waive the rules. So current process would be that the item comes brought back to the next council meeting agenda for discussion, direction, or resolution. If council wanted to proceed with it due to an urgent timeline, they can pass a resolution to suspend the rules that does require a 2/3 vote. And should that proceed, then they could pass a supporting resolution at that time.
Deputy, comment? Would you like to do that?
Yes, I think I would like to move forward with that motion.
Okay, so we'll need 2/3, which to confirm with the clerk, that would be 5 members. Is that correct? Councillor McLeod-Haggett? You were in a second? Okay, very well. I'll have you second that. So moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, so we have Councillor Vaughn. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just wondering in terms of providing our consent to execute a resolution, Why hasn't the resolution been presented to council tonight rather than a verbal?
Madam Clerk?
Through the mayor, it is attached to the delegation. It is that second form.
Thank you. I missed that. Thanks.
No problem. Any further discussion? Councillor Neeb?
Thank you through the chair. Sometimes too, when we get delegations, we might ask staff for a report back. Is there any instance of senior staff wanting to provide a report? Is there any new information that we should be looking at and that staff need to review before we move forward?
Through the mayor, you could suspend the rules and then ask for a report back, because that is different than our normal process. Usually then next week or the next council meeting, would be when that you're asking for a report back. I can say that we have been provided the information, and at this point there are no staff concerns, especially because this is just municipal support at this point, and the regular planning and other building processes still need to be reviewed.
Thank you. Any other further questions? Okay, not seeing any, so we have a mover and a seconder. Deputy Mayor, Councillor McLeod Haggett moves and seconds. We need 5 members of council, 2/3 vote to make that pass. I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
That South Huron Council supports the resolution outlined in Exhibit A of the prescribed form, evidence of municipal support capacity for Blue Water Generation Incorporated's Goshen Line Project submission to the IESO LT2 RFP Project ID LT2C1-1588.
Is there a mover for that? Deputy Mayor moves, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Okay, very well. And turn to Ms. Sue Colson.
The South Huron Council received the delegation from CEM Engineering regarding the Goshen Line project as presented by Matt Lensink and Lass Mueller-Thompson.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor McLeod Haggett, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you very much. And move on to 5.2. We welcome our friends from the Huron Health System now. Jimmy, welcome. And please proceed whenever you're ready. You have about 10 minutes.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and fellow councillors. I'm happy to be here tonight and thank you for having me. I'm here to talk to you about physician recruitment. And as you're all aware, there's physician shortages across the province, and particularly so in smaller communities and affecting, communities such as ours. And it's due to really aging population, limited pipeline for talent, and also competitive landscape in terms of other hospitals offering both monetary and non-monetary incentives to recruit physicians. And I commend the mayor for establishing a task force with Councillor Oak, Councillor Vaughn, and Councillor McLeod Haggett to look at this issue. And I think one of the things that historically has been successful for South Huron, and particularly Exeter, is really the non-monetary incentives, such as lifestyle, community integration, getting to know the landscape and the community itself. And I think one of the things that is really affecting how municipalities and towns are recruiting for physicians is really about the monetary incentives. And so if you look across the province, many smaller communities are putting money on the table, and it doesn't guarantee that you will be able to recruit that physician, but what it does guarantee is that they will look at your community and see what the community has to offer, and then it might entice them to come to the community. So without monetary incentives, it's very, very difficult to get physicians to become interested in a community. And so that's kind of where our disadvantage is. And so we do at Huron Health Systems have some incentives that we offer. So for physicians who do decide to practice at Huron Health System, particularly in Exeter and South Huron, there's a Northern Rural Recruitment Initiative, Northern Rural Recruitment and Retention Initiative, which is about $85,000 as of April 2024, which is offered to physicians who come to a smaller community. We also offer 6 months of free rent in our clinic space, which is a value of $10,000. And then we also offer moving expenses of up to $10,000 for physicians that come. And really what I'm asking for, and hopefully council is open to this, is to establish a $50,000 incentive for physicians, and that could be, used to retain physicians for a return of work service, maybe like 5 years or so for that dollar amount. Physician recruitment is certainly no longer a passive event. It's much more proactive now. And so you have to be creative, you have to offer competitive incentives just to have physicians come, because there's so much opportunity for them to go to different hospitals in different communities. And so I think it's important. And one of the things, and I'll put this out there, the town of Goderich, their council approved a $50,000 incentive to recruit physicians. And most recently in November, we actually were able to recruit our 9th physician, and they were deciding between Clinton and Goderich. And because of this $50,000 incentive that the town of Goderich approved, we were able to secure that physician. So that in turn helps with the care that's provided within the community. And so this is kind of where I'm coming to you to ask for the town to establish a similar incentive. And so I'll stop there for questions.
Councillor Oak.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Drew, for this. You mentioned the town of Goderich approved. Now it's an incentive. What can you explain the incentive that they approved?
Yes, so the incentive that they've approved is for a $50,000 loan to purchase a house within the community. And that house becomes kind of the collateral for the town. So if the person or the physician leaves within that 5 years of return of service, then the collateral is for the town to kind of recoup their loss, right, or their incentive. But normally within a community, a physician who decides to work in that community usually tends to stay in that community. And so that incentive just really helps them cement that decision for them to come to that community and remain in that community.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Dietrich.
Thank you to the mayor. You said Goderich was lucky enough to recruit one doctor. How many applications did they have for that?
For that one physician?
Right.
So over the past, I say 3 years, we've recruited 9 physicians. But this last one was the one that we used incentives, like this monetary incentive. We've also had other incentives that we've used to recruit physicians as well. I think with South Huron, what's the complexity here is that it's so close to a big urban center that it's difficult to kind of draw in those applicants, if you will. And so it's really about being able to use monetary incentives to get them to be interested and look at the community. Once we kind of have them interested, we invite them to the town and we show them around and we introduce them to people and, give them tours and things like that, and try to kind of get their interest that way. And I think that's kind of the difference between Exeter and Goderich, just because the proximity to a bigger urban center, it's harder to get people interested in coming to a smaller community.
Thank you.
Well, I'm lucky enough to have a doctor, and he does service this area, but he does reside in London.
Yes.
So you're recruiting here to get someone, don't matter where he lives in London or wherever, as long as he can come to the area. So you give them other incentives such as a clinic reduction and things like that.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's more than one way to look at this if you look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's important that you have physicians that are in the community, and then they can integrate into the community, make connections, grow roots, plant roots, so that they stay within the community. You're right. I mean, a lot of the physicians who do work at South Huron are from London, North London, but there's also the risk of them, because they're not part of the community, there's also the risk that they would leave, right, to go to another community or to stay in London if they get a better offer. Not to say that will happen, but there's always that risk.
And to your point, they could still leave even if you had the incentive.
For sure, absolutely, yeah.
And I had a conversation with a doctor recently who's new to the area in the last year or so. And he said he lives in London for the sole purpose that is his lifestyle. And this is his workshop here. And he enjoys that.
Yep.
And the response was he has only seen one patient while he's in his environment down in London. So as he advised, a lot of the doctors are doing that, choosing the work-life balance.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate with the geographical location of the South Huron Hospital is, and thank you to our hospital staff for all they do because of that. So any other comments from members of council? Councillor Vaughn, go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Jimmy, too. You were talking about the benefits offered at Huron Health Systems, being three things, basically. The Northern Rural Recruitment and Retention for $84,000, 6 months free rent in clinic space, and moving expenses up to $10,000. And so I know you've used it up at the Alexander Marine General Hospital. So have these benefits been offered to South Huron Hospital practitioners?
Yes, absolutely. We do offer that. I would say in the last two, maybe 3 years, we've been lucky enough to recruit 5 physicians as well. And all of them qualify for that Northern Rural Retention and Recruitment Initiative, so that $84,000. And I would say one of them actually took advantage of the free clinic space. The others work as ED physicians, so they don't do clinic practice, and the other 2 are hospitalists that work in the hospital looking at inpatients.
Okay, so the clinic space that was offered and accepted by one, is that the clinic right across the street from the hospital itself?
Correct, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, not seeing. Well, thank you very much, Jimmy, for your presentation. Nice to see you again. Okay, very well. Ms. Masuak-Olson.
The South Huron Council receives the delegation regarding strengthening physician recruitment from Huron Health Systems as presented by Jimmy True.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, second by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call a question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. Next item 6, go to 7.1, please.
The South Huron Council adopts the minutes of the budget meeting of November 10th, 2025, the regular council meeting of November 17th, 2025, and the council workshop of November 19th, 2025, as printed and circulated.
A mover, please. Moved by Councillor McLeod-Haggis, second by Councillor Dietrich. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carries with 7. Thank you. 8, please.
That the minutes, agendas, and meeting notes of the following committees and or boards be received as presented to council. Sable Bayfield Conservation Authority, draft minutes of October 23rd, 2025, and November 6th, 2025, and agenda package of November 20th, 2025. Resolution in response to Bill 68 and ERO number 025-1257. Upper Thames River Conservation Authority, draft minutes of October 28th, 2025, and agenda package of November 25th, 2025. Exeter Business Improvement Area, the BIA, minutes of October 28th, 2025, and Mayor's Task Force on Regional Healthcare, draft meeting notes of November 13th, 2025.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Councillor Vaughn, go ahead, please.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment about the resolution that the ABCA has provided to us. This was a resolution approved at our ABCA board meeting, and coming with the communication so far is also a request basically asking member municipalities to consider making comments or providing a resolution of their own. Just wanted to advise you that currently the ABCA is preparing a draft resolution for their 12-member municipalities to take a look at and decide if they're in agreement with supporting the ABCA's position and providing that commentary. I expect that's going to be available for our meeting on December 15th, which should be enough time for us to make a decision and provide that resolution to to the province by December 22nd, which is the deadline. Just one more comment about that. The resolution itself is going to look an awful lot like the resolution that is included in our agenda later on, 1417-2, which is from the counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry. So we're just finalizing some of the verbiage and numbers to go with that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Neeb, you had something? Go ahead, please.
Yep, and thank you for that. I guess the one question I had was if you'd be able to maybe go into more detail about what were the specific concerns, because there is a number, because we're talking about reducing 36 conservation authorities down to 7, and that's a significant impact, especially on our residents. So I'm just wondering if you could just elaborate on some of those concerns.
Yeah, there will definitely be more details. Okay. One of the issues right now that has many people concerned is all about the whole notion of how do we maintain a local presence in our watersheds if we are putting basically 6 different watersheds together into one regional component. Like, that's going to be very difficult. Also, right now, what's a challenge for all of us is that there really hasn't been a strong problem statement to the conservation authorities. We're looking for some more efficiencies in our flood mapping. We're looking for more efficient ways to handle staff. No real comments about how we might actually get efficient by becoming a mega regional watershed. And there's also some commentary that's alluding to the fact that maybe our planning and approvals of permits is not helping our development efforts in the provincial priorities. But it's not actually stated, and it's not actually stating how we want to improve it. So some of the numbers that are going to be pulled together are basically, this is what we are able to deliver today. And so we're kind of struggling with what it is that we're actually changing when we want to retain that kind of responsiveness. We want to retain the local flavor so that we can actually steer what happens in our watershed as it relates to educational programs, as an example, or shoreline management, or flood mapping on floodplains and so forth. So if it's too big and it's covering all kinds of natural environments, anywhere from a farming community up to the boreal forest, which is all included in the bigger region, we see that as problematic. So we're hoping to be able to, with that municipal resolution, cover those thoughts, concepts. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor McLeod-Haggett?
Through you, Mr. Sir, are we going on to another matter or still on the conservation?
You're still on 8.4. If you have something else on there, go ahead.
I just wanted to deal with 8.5, the letter.
Oh, we're not.
Oh, sorry.
No, we're still on 8.4. Any other comments, questions on 8.4? Okay, we have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion on 8.4, we'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. 8.5, Ms. Paulson.
That South Huron Council receives the Heritage Advisory Committee draft minutes of November 12th, 2025, and attached 2025 year in review, including a request for budget increase and correspondence recommending refusal of the application to repeal Heritage Designation Bylaw 23-1993 for 12 Victoria East in Crediton.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor McLeod-Haggett. Discussion. Councillor McLeod-Haggett.
Through you, Mayor Finch. Rebecca, just wondering what the next steps are for the 12 Victoria Ave East property in Crediton. with respect to their application to repeal the heritage designation?
Through the mayor, I can start and then the clerk can take over. The clerk has a plan to bring a report back to the next council meeting with options for consideration.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, through the chair. So the objection period has finished. That came due at the end of day on Friday. So staff are working on a report to come back for December 15th. That will include any of the objections that we've received from members of the public, including the Heritage Advisory Committee's recommendations for council then to consider whether or not they want to proceed with the application request to repeal or not. There are outlines within, legislative timelines outlined in the Act that provides that council will need to make a decision on this application within 90 days of the expiry of the objection period. So that's end of February 2026. Would have to make a decision on that application if it's still on the table. So.
Thank you. Follow. Okay. Any other comments, Councillor Oak? And then Councillor Need.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I was wondering if we could split this resolution.
Absolutely. Okay.
And my thoughts are to split it to talk about the first part, the year in review, as at the end of that, and then there would be another one to talk about the budget increase, and a third one for the last part about the refusal of the application. Break it into three.
Okay. Councillor Need, go ahead.
Sorry, through the chair, and this is only to receive correspondence. This actually does not influence the application period. The objection period, sorry, is still occurring. So this is just to receive correspondence.
Okay.
As well to in conversations with staff as far as any budget change would require an amendment, which I'll be making a proposal to make that amendment to the budget. But further to that, if I can continue. So the committee had the opportunity to speak with the applicant. If you recall the initial application for repealing the bylaw, the rationale was due to insurance costs. And so over the last month or so, the members of the committee have been in contact with the applicant in order to attempt to find an insurer that will cover heritage designated properties. And it's been an interesting kind of journey in that the Ontario government says one thing, that heritage designation should not impact insurance rates, whereas there have been instances across Ontario and Canada where insurers, since the pandemic, have started to increase insurance premiums. So I'm happy to say in conversations with different insurers, we were able to find an appropriate insurer for the applicant. And we're working on whether or not the applicant would wish to keep their application on the table, in which case it would come to council for consideration, or whether they would like to pull the application. And one of the conversations was, well, perhaps the bylaw, which is from the early 90s, needs to be updated to reflect the current legislation. So the old bylaw lists internal elements of the building. We can't do that with the current legislation. The other thing to think about too with insurance is what is actually being designated, and does the whole building and the whole property need to be designated? It doesn't. It could be an element. It could be a stained glass window. It could be the brickwork of the building. And so that's something that we've been talking with the applicant about is, well, let's refine really what we're designating, because the idea behind the designation is to prevent the building from being demolished, or at least that it goes through a public process where everyone's made aware before the building is designated, or sorry, demolished. So that's where we're at in the process right now. Again, it's up to the applicant whether they wish to pull the application or not. But the committee has been working with the applicant. So I think the objection period, when that ends, it could either be pulled or it could still be brought to council, in which case correspondence from the committee would probably go along with that material. So thanks.
Thank you for that explanation, Councillor Neeb. Any other comments at this time? Okay, I turn to Council Oak. Did you still want the split?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further discussion or is there any further discussion or comments at this time? Not seeing any. We have a mover and a seconder. Call the question all in favor, and that carries with 7. Thank you. Next item, please. 9.1.
That South Huron Council receives staff report BPS 16/2025 Committee of Adjustment appointment, and that the following members be appointed to the Committee of Adjustment for 2026.
Who wants to be volunteered or voluntold? Councillor Oak. Thank you. Councillor Neeb, thank you. Did I see anybody scratch their nose? Councillor McLeod Haggett, thank you. Okay. If you could read that recommendation, that'd be perfect.
That South Huron Council receives staff report BPS 16/2025 Committee of Adjustment appointment, and that the following members be appointed to the Committee of Adjustment for 2026. Councillor Oak, Councillor Neeb, and Councillor McLeod Haggett.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, second by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Call the question all in favor, and that carries with 7. Thank you for that. Next item, please. 9.1.2.
That South Huron Council receives staff report BPS 17/2025 costs incurred for professional representation at Ontario Land Tribunal cases between 2018 to 2025.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Councillor McLeod Haggett, go ahead, please.
Through you, Mayor Finch. I just want to, I guess, do a little bit of clarification on this, just so that everybody is aware that the, where it says approximately $42,000, that is the legal fees, the lawyer fees, correct? That does not include the staff time, the reports, the meeting with the consultants or the engineers. So it is in fact more than $42,000.
Mr. Rolfe, go ahead, please.
Thank you, through the chair. It includes all external costs, so the legal and any engineering services that we would have retained. But you're correct, there's no internal costs, no staff time was allocated to that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Oak.
And just to add on to that, it doesn't include, like, none of these cases went to the tribunal as well. That would have added additional costs. They were settled before the tribunal in all cases.
They were settled before trial. They went to the tribunal.
Before going to the tribunal.
Trial, yeah. Councillor, Mr. McCall.
To the mayor, they were part of the tribunal to the settlement. Yeah, but not quite to, yeah. And then this also does not include county costs as well.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, not seeing. We have a mover and a seconder. Call the question all in favor, and that carries with 6. Thank you. Next item, please. 9.1.3.
That South Huron Council receives staff report BPS 18/2025 Dashwood Fire Station update, and that staff direct Spirit Associates Limited to proceed with phases 2 and 3, preparation of tender documents and tendering and contract administration, and that staff bring back the mutual drain agreement for council consideration. And I would just add that Spirits are available needed.
Thank you. Is there a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Councillor McLeod Haggett, go ahead, please.
Through you, Mayor Finch. Just looking through the report for the mutual drain part, where it's saying that the we still need to do the permit with the Asable Bayfield, plus we need to do the mutual drain agreement with the municipality. And there's a spot in here where it says that the it's suggested and preferred that the drain is installed before the end of the year. Is that doable, given we've got 4 weeks and big chunk of that is Christmas holidays?
Mr. Rolfe, you want to take that?
So the mayor. Yes, it is doable. We have been in conversation with Mr. Runge, who was doing the civil works for us, who spec'd the drain itself. He has been in contact with the contractor who provided us an invoice for the drain. And the fireman would prefer it to be done in the fall or winter, I guess now. The mutual drain agreement itself does not specifically have to be entered into prior to the installation of the drain. They can put the drain in. Mr. Runge would have to go out and survey that drain, provide us a map. Then we'd bring everything back to council for for your consideration, assuming at that time, as the drain has been installed, that we all enter into the agreement. The agreement itself is just for maintenance of that drain. It is something that is very straightforward. As this drain is only servicing our property, outletting to the Hugh drain, 100% of those costs would be ours for any maintenance, repair, replacement in the future. And that's specifically what that agreement speaks to.
Go ahead.
I'm just wondering where it says approximately $1,000, how many acres is that? And then plus the additional aggravation, what?
So the mayor, it's being estimated, but not 100% calculated, that it's about 1 acre of land that would be disrupted if crops were planted. So it'd be about $1,000, maybe acre and a half.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Councillor Oak.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Since we have Spritz on the line, I'm just wondering if they could maybe give us an update. Just one of the questions that council had was talking about the difference between a wood frame structure and a pre-engineered steel building, and just wanting them to talk about the differences and the possibility of why we couldn't go to tender with both ideas at the time, and let the market decide which is cheaper way to go.
Well, hi, it's Shanna from Spirit Associates, Shanna McElmurray. You guys hear me fine?
Yeah, welcome, Shannon. Go ahead.
Okay. We got cost estimates. I don't know if they've been shared in your packages.
Oh, just stand by. We can't quite hear you right now.
We did get cost estimates on both the pre-eng and the wood frame structure, Class C. Were they shared?
Yes, they were shared.
Okay.
Yes.
So we did this in anticipation for selecting which structure to go with. Because if we were to go to tender, it would be 2 drawing sets you would have to tender, and it would increase your cost dramatically on our side. We'd have to do 2 sets of drawings, 2 sets of specifications. It's not just an option in the drawings, like say heated floor option for add remove. It's a whole set of drawings. So it's an astronomical cost increase on our end. And that's why we chose to just go through design development and get the 2 different cost estimates for comparison. The pre-eng building, it came in much cheaper, and it's a prefabricated system. You're gonna meet your energy values with it, and it's gonna be a post-disaster building. This is one of the reasons why it came in much cheaper, because the wood frame building, it's gonna have to have your wood built closer together because it has to meet a post-disaster building because of the type of building it is. So you've got your wood frame at 12 inches on center. And this is one of the problems we had with trying to get the cost down. I don't know if that answers any of your questions or.
Yes, Councillor Oak, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. That was one of my next questions, was the post-disaster facility, as far as is that part of the building code for a fire hall process? Just wanting to clarify that part, and maybe Mike can answer that one.
Yeah, that's in the building code. That's in part 4 for structural.
Thank you. Mr. Wolf, would you have a comment, please?
Yeah, thank you. Through the mayor. So yes, as Shana indicated, it is a building code requirement for any police station, hospital, fire station, any building that really needs to be standing after a major disaster is required to be constructed to a post-disaster standard. It could be anywhere from 1.3 to 1.5 times stronger in your safety factors, as Sean indicated within the part 4 of the building code. So your laterals, your seismic, your uplifts, and your wind pressures. Okay, so hence the reason that the wood construction is much more challenging with a building of these kind of spans. It's not massive, but they are large spans for building members, or for wood members, sorry.
Thank you. And Shannon, just as a comment here, this building, properly engineered as you described, that you're recommending here, how long would it last the community in the future?
I would say at least 50 plus years, but I could get a better answer from one of my engineers. He does inspections on these throughout municipalities throughout southwestern Ontario. And we see them standing for salt sheds for 30 years, 30 plus years, and they're storing salt.
Yeah, that's my, that was my conclusion as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be a very well built building that the public can have confidence in for generations is what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Chief, would you have any comments at all in regards to this, just to give you an opportunity or not? You don't have to if you don't wish to. No? Right.
Through you, it's this is the you know, the cost effective the route that we need to go, and I think that the pre-eng would probably be faster as well. I know that there's lots of pros and cons to each one, but this does open up some more opportunities inside the building as well, going pre-eng versus the wood frame. So
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Neeb.
Thank you, Mayor Finch. In the report, it mentions the proposed budget. It also says council could consider a budget amendment to reflect the updated project estimates per the chart below. Now, I know with the change in the mayor's budget and legislation around budgeting, is that going to come forward already, or as council do we have to make a proposal to make that amendment to the mayor's budget?
Through the mayor, yeah, currently it's 3.5 million in the budget. And the treasurer would appreciate it if there was an amendment. I could say that on her behalf. However, if it's not amended at this point, there would be a budget amendment when the actual costs came in after. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Oak.
Yeah, and that's something we've done in the past is when the tenders come in, we find out what the true cost is, and then we, you know, amend it accordingly. So I'd sooner wait and see what the tenders come in and do one amendment at the time when you actually have hard tenders. That would be what I would suggest, but that's up to council.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. And I would agree with Councillor Oak. I'd like to see it come in and we do a budget amendment at the time, because as of right now, we've just got numbers here. We have no idea what the cost is going to be. So I think it would make it a lot simpler to do it at the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Neeb, you had something?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think that works. The only question I had is whether or not we could get the levy impact based on what these proposed numbers are and what we have already budgeted. I don't know when, probably a budget meeting, but just to have an idea, just a ballpark of what that impact would be on the levy.
Through the mayor, at this point, the levy portion is already included. There's monies in reserve in the budget itself, and anything over and above at this point would be debt financed. That's a proposal. Now, as far as that goes, when the budget amendment happens, council can decide there at that point.
Good, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, not seeing any. We have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, firefighters, for your dedication. Next item, please.
Let South Huron Council receive staff report CR 05-2025 IAWWC project update, community event, and survey findings for information.
And a mover, please. Councillor Neeb moves, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Councillor Neeb, go ahead.
Just more of a comment. It's great that we have some of this data. I found it really interesting to read through. I mean, we see a lot of migrant workers that are working in our community, and it's nice that we're engaging them and trying to find ways to include these people in basically our community. I just think that's something maybe we should be keeping in mind too for future applications. potentially to ensure that we're looking towards those communities to make sure they're being included.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Through the mayor, I'd like to give kudos to Stacy on this because she did, I think, the lion's share on this report. If she wants to speak a little bit to it, yeah.
Welcome, Stacy.
Through you, Mayor Finch. Yeah, thank you so much for the recognition for this survey finding report. What you don't see in here is some of the connections we've actually made with local employers as well as actual international agri-food workers directly. So we've really started to build our connections with the community. And again, we haven't really dove into reaching this population. So you'll see 14 responses to us. That was actually fantastic with some of the barriers and the challenges that it is to actually reach populations that you don't typically reach and communicate with and work with. Happening tomorrow, I would like to mention we're doing our International Agri-Food Worker Supporter workshop event. So we are going to dive a little bit deeper into the findings as well as have the opportunity to discuss with local employers of international agri-food workers, service providers, organizations, interested community members, some of the findings and the gaps that are here and how we can then move forward to really support that inclusion within our community. So I am very proud of this work. I think it's important, and I think you'll see some of the stats in here. It definitely makes you think down the road what we can do in our community to support these workers. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Stacy. Great job as usual. Any comments from members of council? Councillor Neeb, go ahead.
No, I think it's important that we realize the impact that a lot of migrant workers have on our local employers and especially on the Canadian economy, but also in agriculture in our area too. So any way we can entice more migrant workers to come to our area because of, the opportunities that they have to say get to town and go to the pharmacy or go to the clinic or go to a grocery store. Like those are big wins for us as a community to have these individuals working in our community. So yeah.
And healthcare is a big item for them as well. Yeah. Thank you very much. If there's no further discussion, we have a mover and a seconder. I'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 6. Thank you very much. Thanks, Stacy. Next item, please.
That South Huron Council received staff report FIN 23-2025, the 2026 updated user fee schedules. The council approves the proposed changes to the user fees and that the bylaw be brought back for the required 3 readings.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 10. Is there any notice of motion that you're aware of?
There are none.
Thank you. Items for discussion arising from previous meetings. Anyone wish to discuss those items? Okay. Councillor Oak, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The 11.2, guess just wanted to confirm that the county has applied for a delegation at Roma.
Yeah.
Just wondering if, just as a follow-up.
Yes, and I talked to the warden about that and asked if I could be a participant in that discussion if time permits, and he's agreeable to that. So any other comments at all? Not seeing any. Okay, move on. The recommendation, please.
The South Huron Council receives CSD Memo 01-2025, Stephen Arena, occupancy repair work, follow-up for information.
And a mover, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor McLeod Haggett. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. New business. Is there any new business at this time? Not seeing any. We want to communicate Mayor and Councillor comments. Are there any comments at this time? Go ahead. Nothing. All right. I have something here. Find it, please. So, what the mayor has been up to. On November 21st, I was invited by the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Finance, Michelle Cooper, and Minister Thompson for the 2026 provincial budget consultation located at the Township of Bruce Community Center. Several municipal leaders from across here in Bruce and a delegate from Burlington were in attendance to share ideas on the key issues that need to be addressed in the next budget, including protecting Ontario's economy and workers, creating more jobs, keeping taxes low and costs down, delivering better services, and getting critical infrastructure projects built. Each delegate was allowed 3 minutes to speak and provide their speaking notes to Minister Thompson as part of the official record. So in addition, the comments were audio recorded for later review by the ministry. So my recommendation was that small municipalities need the province to provide a long-term commitment to OMPF increases that also include a mandatory automatic infrastructure inflationary adjustment. And why OMPF is the right vehicle? Because it is unconditional and formula-based. It allows municipalities to address the highest priority needs quickly with local accountability because we are closest to the people. A multi-year indexed envelope reduces year-to-year volatility, enabling responsible long-term budgeting and asset management planning under OREG 58817. On the 26th of November, myself and our CEO, Ms. Masoul Carlson, attended Mayor Kathy Burkhart-Jessam's Mayor's Breakfast and enjoyed the positive networking with Middlesex reps. Mayor Burkhart-Jessamine actually made comment on the positive relationship they have with us in South Huron as we share this as a region when it comes to healthcare, and she looks forward to continuing to support each other in the future. And later that evening, I was invited to attend the Sunset Community Funds Awards at the Grand Bend Legion, and it was pretty much a full house of participants. Thousands of dollars were donated back to worthy groups and organizations to support projects that will benefit our region. We were very, very fortunate to be a part of such an amazing community across the South Huron and region. There are many other events I attended, however, those were the highlights, just to name a few. If there's nothing further, move on to communications. Ms. Masoul Carlson.
14.1,
Pull that, please.
14.2, 14.3,
Pull.
14.4,
Pull that.
14.5,
We'll pull that.
14.6, 14.7, 14.8, 14.9, 14.10, 14.11, 14.12, 14.13, 14.14, 14.15, 14.16, and 14.17, and that's 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3.
Pull 0.2, please.
Very well. Okay, 14.1, Councillor, oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just wondering, with this correspondence, how that affects any of our bylaws in South Huron and whether we need to update any of our
Through the mayor, I'll start and then Mike can finish up if needed. This bill will supersede our bylaws, as well as we're right now undergoing a zoning bylaw review for the whole municipality. So anything that needs to be changed could be caught in there. Mike, do you have anything further to add?
To the mayor, no, that's perfect. That's exactly right. We'll catch everything within our zoning bylaw amendments.
Great, thank you very much. 14.3, Councillor Neeb.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Finch, and through the chair. And I think I recall there has been some conversation already with the Playhouse, and this is actually new to me in terms of an exemption. So I'm just wondering what are staff's thoughts on how to move forward, whether it is possible. Like the letter says, it's asking for an exemption for the housing for the actors, let's say, but they also talk in the letter too about an exemption for the entire facility. So I'm just looking to.
Through the mayor, could I suggest a staff report? And then we can bring something back.
Sounds good. Yep.
Yeah, so moved by Counselor Need for resolution on that, and Counselor Oak seconds that. And I'll wait for Madam Clerk to have that prepared.
That staff bring a report back regarding Huron Country Playhouse's request for a permissive exemption for council consideration.
So moved
So moved.
and seconded. Is there any discussion? Counselor Vaughn, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wondered if in that report, if it could also give us some dollar figures in terms of what are we talking about here? Thanks.
Yes, that'll be a part of it. Is there any other questions at all? No further discussion? Counselor Need?
Thank you through the chair. Have there, like, in South Huron, there have never been any permissive exemptions before?
Through the mayor, no.
Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. So 14.4, I just want to commend Marnie Van Esbrook for her diligence on what she's been doing and keeping the this conversation alive. I am concerned that there's 50% of the elementary schools in Huron County do not offer extended day programming. So those be some of the discussions I'm hoping to have with the minister, with the county, if we do get a delegation. And I did more research on this whole law and regulation, and the wording is, the word is shall provide a before and after school program. Doesn't offer a may, it says shall. So those are some things we should be very much aware of. 14.5, I've asked for that to be pulled. I had a conversation with the writer, the author on this, and again, police record vulnerable sectors checks are a concern. So wondering if we would like someone to talk about supporting that. Councillor Oak, comments, please.
Yeah, I was gonna pull it too, just to maybe send a resolution to Member Thompson and MP Thompson and the Solicitor General to voice our concern.
And the Premier potentially as well?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Madam Clerk, if you could prepare that. It's also come to county on Wednesday, so I'll be asking for the similar resolution.
And I know, I know there's a number of volunteers out there that are frustrated with the process in taking 2 months to get approved to volunteer at an organization or for employment at some organizations as well. So it's a frustration for many residents.
For sure. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
That South Huron Council supports and forwards the correspondence of Queensway Southbridge Healthcare requesting expedient vulnerable sector police checks for healthcare workers and those associated with nursing homes to the Premier, MPP Thompson, and Solicitor General.
So moved, Councillor Oak.
So moved.
Seconded by Councillor McLeod-Haggett. Any discussion? Councillor Vaughn.
I'm not sure if this discussion belongs with this motion, but it's on the same topic. And I'm just wondering if in simultaneous with this motion should, is this something we should also bring up to the Police Services Board in terms of the feedback we're getting from the public? And I'm just wondering if there's another venue to actually go at this as well.
Deputy, what's your comment?
Yes, and I can take this forward to the meeting that's coming up shortly. And I think it has been discussed there, but not sure we got an answer back. So thank you.
Great, thank you. And I know in further discussion with county staff, they said it was also a problem with the education workers as well. So just wondering if Council Oak wanted to include educational workers, teachers, EAs, et cetera.
I'm open to, expanding the resolution.
To the mayor, I probably, Jeremy, the chief could probably add to this, but we also, with our pool staff, sometimes we run into these problems as well.
Chief?
Through you, Mayor Finch, the pool staff and any volunteer firefighter applications as well. We're starting to see lots of lengthy times on these, and in fact, we're getting them back after the pool season. So it's really pointless to even go down that road when you're not getting them back in a timely fashion. And they're only good for so long as well.
And I know, like I mentioned, there's a lot of employers that are in the same situation, trying to do checks on people with, and it affected minor hockey this fall, trying to get vulnerable checks for coaches and trainers and managers. And so the list it's just anybody that needs to get a vulnerable check basically is being affected currently.
I think the response here is the fact that what Kate's referring to in the letter is the fact it's medical. So we have lives are dependent on this. So it seems very challenging. Councilor McLeod-Hague, you had something?
I was just going to add to the list of people. I know my niece, college university students are trying to get theirs done so they can start their placement in January, and they're being told 2-3 more months. So the schools are trying to figure out what they're going to do to get these done.
Yeah, so it is a huge problem. And I can tell you back in the day, I was policing, person who could walk in the office and I could do the police record check in 5 minutes. As long as they had no record, it was very simple. We call a VS check on CPIC and away you went to the races. That's all changed. We have a third party that's doing it now. So that does create some challenges. I guess the whole message here is it's not for everybody that we're worried about. We're worried about the healthcare workers and our lifeguards because they're providing a service, a high level service, right? It isn't very unfortunate and an inconvenience for the coaches and whatnot, but the letter is very specific to healthcare workers. But I know talking with our staff at the county, they did mention EAs and perhaps we could include EAs and lifeguards. Would that be something suitable for you as a mover and a seconder? Very well. If Madam Clerk maybe tweak that to reflect that.
That South Huron Council supports and forwards the correspondence of Queenway Southbridge Healthcare requesting expedient vulnerable sector police checks for healthcare workers and those associated with nursing homes, as well as council supporting expedient vulnerable sector police checks for educational assistants, lifeguards, and volunteer firefighters, and that the correspondence be forwarded on to the Premier and PP Thompson as Solicitor General.
Satisfactory to the mover?
So moved.
And our seconder? Seconder concurs. Is there any further discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 6. Thank you. 14.17.2, Councillor Oku asked for that to be pulled.
Thank you, Mayor. Just in light of what Councillor Vaughn mentioned about ABCA's resolution that's coming down the line here, I just didn't know if we wanted to support any of these other ones in addition to what might be coming, just to get the message out sooner than later And I just didn't know if we, I know the one 17.2 basically talks about their watershed sort of thing. Maybe the one from the town of Kingsville is more generic. But
You'd like to support
so
14?
maybe support 14.17.1.
Point one for Kingsville?
Point one for Kingsville. It doesn't talk about a specific watershed.
Very well. I'll have the clerk move that, or prepare that, and then we'll ask for a seconder.
That South Huron Council support the November 17th, 2025 resolution of the town of Kingsville and regarding the opposition to proposed consolidation of conservation authorities, and that the supporting resolution be circulated to the Premier of Ontario, Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, MPP Thompson, AMCTO and AMO, and all Ontario municipalities.
So moved.
So moved.
Seconder. Councillor McLeod Haggett seconds. Is there any further discussion? Call the question, all in favor, and that carries with 7. Thank you. Resolution, please.
That South Huron Council receive communication items not otherwise dealt with.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neves, second by Councillor Dietrich. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor, and that carries with 7. Thank you. And we're going to go to closed session, so it gives the staff 5 minutes to get prepared for that. And just talk to Bonnie here for a minute.
that South Huron Council proceeds in closed session at 7:47 PM for the purposes of addressing the following in accordance with subsection 239(2)(e) and F of the Municipal Act, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, and that the CAO, clerk, and municipal solicitor, Paul Corey, remain in attendance.
And a mover for that, please. Moved by Councilor Neeb, second by Councilor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? That carries with 7. So now we're going into closed. Okay, welcome back. Here we are. So this is the chair reporting out an open session. Council met in closed session to consider matters. It is permitted to do so under the Municipal Act and is listed on today's council. The following items were considered during the closed session: litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local school board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. As a result of our closed session today, the closed meeting minutes of September 2nd, 2025 were approved, and the following resolution will be considered by council in open session. That South Huron Council receive the staff report CL 2025, and that the South Huron Council proceed with the recommendations of the solicitor as discussed in closed session. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, second by Councillor Dietrich. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor. That carries with 7. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Basula Carlson.
That South Huron Council gives first, second, third, and final reading to bylaw 74, 2025, being a bylaw to confirm matters addressed at the December 1st, 2025 public and council meeting.
And mover, please. Moved by Councillor Dietrich, second by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor. And that carries with 7. Thank you.
That South Huron Council hereby adjourn at 8:28 p.m. to meet again on December 15th, 2025 at 6 p.m. or at the call of the chair.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Neeb. No discussion.